No one expected that a peaceful little colony on the edge of the New World would become one of the biggest unsolved mysteries in history. But on the island of Roanoke, off the coast of what is now North Carolina, something happened that left the world stunned for more than 4 centuries. A whole settlement of men, women, and children, around 115 people, vanished without a trace, no bodies, no signs of struggle, nothing but a single carved word that has confused historians ever since: CROATOAN. Imagine the scene. The year is 1587. A group of hopeful English settlers arrives on Roanoke Island, led by John White, an explorer with big dreams. These settlers were not soldiers or adventurers, they were families. Husbands, wives, children, even newborn babies. Among them was White's own daughter, Eleanor Dare, who would soon give birth to her daughter, Virginia, the first English child born in the New World. Life was harsh from the very beginning. The English were far from home, surrounded by dense forests, unpredictable weather, and Native American tribes who had mixed feelings about their presence. Some tribes welcomed them, others did not, and resources were already running low when they arrived. Still, the settlers built their homes, shared meals around campfires, and tried to imagine a future in this strange yet promising land. But within weeks, it became clear that survival would not be easy. Food was scarce, supplies were running out, and tensions with local tribes began to rise. The settlers begged John White to return to England to request help. Although he didn't want to leave his family behind, he knew he had no choice. He promised he would return quickly. He had no idea that it would take 3 years. England suddenly found itself in a war with Spain, and every ship was needed for defense. White begged for just one vessel to rescue his people, but his pleas went unheard. Storms, military restrictions, and political struggles delayed him again and again. By the time he finally set sail back to Roanoke in 1590, he feared the worst. When he arrived, his worst fear wasn't enough to prepare him for what he found. The colony was silent. Houses were dismantled, not destroyed. Tools were gone. Belongings were missing, as if packed and carried away. There were no graves, no bones, no blood. Not a single sign of disease, war, or panic. Just that one word carved neatly into a wooden post: CROATOAN. White's heart raced. CROATOAN was the name of a nearby island, now known as Hatteras Island, and also the name of a friendly native tribe whose members had previously helped the settlers. White believed they might have relocated there for safety. That word felt like a message written directly for him, a sign that his daughter and granddaughter might still be alive. But before he could search the island, a fierce storm hit the coast. His ship's captain refused to risk being stranded. Against John White's desperate pleas, the ship turned back to England. He would never return to America again, and the colonists would never be seen. From that moment, Roanoke became known as the Lost Colony, and theories began to multiply. Some historians believe the settlers simply moved to CROATOAN Island and blended with the Native Americans. This is supported by later reports of native tribes with unusually light hair and gray eyes. But if that were the case, why did White find no definite sign of them? Why didn't any native tribe ever claim to have sheltered them? Another theory suggests that the colonists tried to sail back to England on their own using makeshift boats. But such a journey would have been nearly impossible, and the ocean would have swallowed them long before they reached home. Then there's a darker theory. Some believe the settlers met a violent end, either through conflict with hostile tribes or internal fighting. But historians argue that if this had happened, there would have been signs, remains, weapons, destruction. Instead, the site was clean, organized, almost peaceful. One of the strangest theories involves the supernatural. Stories claim that Roanoke Island was cursed long before the settlers arrived. Native legends spoke of a dark spirit that haunted the land, capable of consuming entire groups of people. Of course, these are myths. But myths often grow from real fears. Then there's the idea of a devastating disease, something that forced the settlers to scatter, flee, or seek help from far-off tribes. But again, why no remains? Why no belongings left behind? Why did they take their tools, weapons, and supplies with them? For hundreds of years, archaeologists have searched for traces of the colonists. Pieces of pottery have been found at nearby sites, but none that can definitively be linked to the original settlers. A gold ring discovered in the 1990s caused excitement until scientists realized it was probably from a later period. Every discovery seems to bring hope, only to end in disappointment. Still, the mystery refuses to die. In 1998, researchers found evidence that suggested the island suffered a massive drought around the time the settlers lived there. This could have forced the colonists to abandon the island in desperation, searching for food and salvation elsewhere. But if that were true, where did they go? And why did they leave no updated markings or clues? The word CROATOAN continues to haunt historians. It appears again and again throughout American folklore, almost like a whisper from the past. In the 1800s, a shipwrecked sailor reportedly scratched the word into his bedpost moments before disappearing. Edgar Allan Poe, shortly before his mysterious death, is said to have uttered CROATOAN as one of his final words. Even in modern times, the word appears in ghost stories, novels, and urban legends. But perhaps the most chilling detail is this. Modern DNA research suggests that some native tribes in the region do show signs of European ancestry dating back earlier than expected. Could this be evidence that the settlers survived, that they lived quietly among the tribes, marrying, raising children, and fading into history? If so, the story is not one of tragedy, but of transformation. Still, one question remains unanswered. Why didn't they ever send word back to England? Did they choose to disappear? Or were they forced? Whatever happened to the Roanoke Colony, their story continues to captivate the world. Hundreds of years later, researchers still dig through the sandy soil of Roanoke Island, hoping to uncover a clue that was overlooked. Maybe a piece of metal, a fragment of clothing, a name scratched into a stone. Something, anything, that can bring closure to a mystery that has endured for centuries. And yet, the silence remains